let's focus on immigration and business law updates. This is a presentation of the Khurana Law Firm located in Rockville, Maryland. The host here is Attorney Kenneth Haber, who actually questions Attorney Khurana on the North American Free Trade Agreement, or rather, the TN visa and status. Let's take a look.
This is the Capitol Forum. I'm Ken Haber, former Assistant United States Attorney and former Senior Attorney in the Office of Inspector General of Health and Human Services. With me today we have in our studio Ramesh Khurana, well-known international and national immigration attorney who has helped countless number of individuals become productive residents and citizens in this country, and he's here today to explain to us the TN visa that came with the North American Free Trade Agreement. Welcome, Ramesh.
Thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate your kind introduction.
It's nothing compared to the warm feelings that people have who you've helped out over the years, I'm sure.
I'm grateful to you, sir.
Can you please tell us the names of the countries whose nationals are eligible for the TN visa?
Sure, Ken. I'll be happy to do that. Now, when we are talking about TN visa, and you did mention about NAFTA, now this is the North American Free Trade Agreement, and if you recall, this agreement was made during the regime of President Bill Clinton. And this is an agreement among three countries, USA, Canada and Mexico. So, when we are talking about trade NAFTA visa, which is TN visa, this is available only to the nationals of Canada and Mexico.
And I presume the U.S. citizens have availability of that in their countries?
Yes, because this is on a reciprocity basis. That's true.
What's the reason that only a few countries in the world are eligible for this type of immigration status?
This is as a result of the NAFTA agreement, and since the NAFTA agreement is restricted only to three countries, so that's why only professionals who are either of Canadian nationality or of Mexican nationality could apply for TN visa.
What educational work experience are the requirements for the TN visa?
The most important thing here, Ken, I would like to say is, let us say that you are looking for the position of an accountant. And what is the basic requirement for the position of an accountant? That is the bachelor degree in accountancy. So, if you are holding a bachelor degree in accountancy, then you become eligible to apply for the position of an accountant. Other thing you have to see is whether for the position of an accountant, whether you need to have a license to work as an accountant in any particular state, and if the answer is yes, then you should be holding a license, otherwise you cannot apply for TN visa. Well, let's talk about the state of Maryland. In the state of Maryland, there is no requirement for the position of an accountant to hold a license unless you want to function as a CPA, which of course is a licensed position. Anybody holding the equivalent of a bachelor in accounting degree, that person could apply for TN visa.
If they were going to go to a state in this country where they required a license just to be an accountant, then they wouldn't be able to hold that same visa, I presume?
That's right. Let us say they are lawyers, Canadian lawyer. If a Canadian lawyer wants to come to the US to practice laws here, and all these states, they have requirements for admission to the state bars. So, if a person wants to come to Maryland and he wants to practice laws here, and especially Maryland laws, that person has got to be licensed.
That's interesting, considering in this area where Maryland and Virginia and DC meet, there's so many attorneys who work in other jurisdictions other than where they're living. It can get rather confusing, to say the least.
Yeah, but you know, as you are aware, being a seasoned attorney, like any attorney who is admitted to any state bar in the United States, And when we are talking about the immigration issues, and this is a federal subject. So, if a person is holding a California state bar license, then California state attorney could come and work in Maryland, because he can practice immigration laws, absolutely no problem.
Absolutely. We just had a case, a Medicare case, where there was an appeal. The client was in North Carolina, we were in Maryland. The hearing officer, administrative law judge, was down in Florida, and everything was being done telephonically. So this is really a national country.
That's right.
Is there any restricted procedures for Mexican nationals concerning the TN visa?
Yes, Ken, there is a restricted procedure for the nationals of Mexico, because they have to go to the US consulates abroad in their home country and apply for the TN visa. And once they are granted TN visa, only then they will be admitted to the United States. Whereas the nationals of Canada, now they could present their case even at the border to the CBP, like Customs and Border Protection Officers, and they will adjudicate their application for grant of TN visa. And if the TN visa is granted, the person would just cross the border and come to the US, and he will start working on TN visa.
What's the origin of that difference?
In fact, this is the result of the NAFTA agreement among 3 countries.
They agreed to that difference?
Yes, that's the way this agreement is.
I think some people of Latino origin might feel that it's a little discriminatory in that regard.
But you know, this is an agreement among 3 countries, but I think if somebody makes a case, this could always be reviewed.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
but this has to be decided at the higher level.
That's true.
Because then you got to make an amendment to the NAFTA agreement.
That's true.
Right.
How would you describe the temporary nature of the TN visa status?
Yeah, Ken, the nature is purely temporary in nature. Like, you know, in our previous segments, we have talked about non-immigrant intent and immigrant intent. Now, for the TN visa, the intent is non-immigrant. That means you are coming here for the duration of your TN status, and after your TN status is over, you intend to go back to your own country. And now the question comes, when you are on TN visa, can you really apply for a green card under different kind of eligibility? A person is single and that person gets married to a US citizen, it should not be a problem. But let us say another company wants to sponsor him for the purpose of green card through the labor certification process. Now, there are different situations, and simply applying for the green card through the labor certification process may not really give the intent that person intent has changed, but he will really be questioned very strongly. Like, if you can draw some inference, like this person is going to get the green card and settle down here in the United States permanently. So, there is a conflict between TN visa and the application for green card, but it is subject to further questioning.
I would assume that has to go to whether there was some an intent in the beginning in terms of how they responded to the immigration questionnaire, and if they misrepresented their initial intent.
You know, Ken, again it will be decided on a case-by-case basis. Let us say a person has been on TN status for the last 6 years. So, nothing happened. Nobody applied for his green card or labor certification process. After 6 years, now some application is made on his behalf. So, I do not think that it's a case of fraudulent misrepresentation, because had there been a fraudulent misrepresentation, then he would have acted promptly. After 1 year or 6 months, he would have applied for the green card. So, in my example, we are talking about this application coming forward after lapse of 6 years. So, I do not think they will be asking any question about the fraudulent intent. But at the same time, now onward, when an application for green card has been put in place, his intent has changed now, because TN visa is given at some point for a period of 3 years. After 3 years, you have to apply for the renewal. So, when you apply for the renewal next time and there is a question asked, have you filed or somebody has filed any immigrant petition on your behalf, and you answer always truthfully, you say yes, then you are going to be questioned about that.
So how often can a person have their TN visa renewed?
Oh yeah, at some point they at any point of time they give it for 3 years, unless the employer wants that I am making the job offer for a period of 1 year, I am making a job offer for a period of 2 years. But it is dependent upon the job offer, but maximum at some point it can be given only for a period of 3 years. But if after 3 years there is a continuity in the job offer, then it will be renewed after 3 years.
I take it that can be renewed indefinitely then if the job offer is
Yeah,
there?
it can be renewed, I would say, for a reasonable period of time. I would not say indefinitely, but again intent of the person would always be seen at the time of each renewal.
That's interesting.
You know, that was the case in E2 visa. Like in E2 visa, it could be extended indefinitely. Like a person can stay here for 20 years on E2 visa. Again, the nature of the intent was temporary in nature.
How does the TN visa interplay with the H-1B visa?
So, when we are talking about TN visa, let us say a person finds a job, because for the purpose of H-1B, he needs to be sponsored by an employer who would be willing to file an H-1B petition on his behalf. At that point of time, this person wants to move to the company who is a petitioner for H-1B visa, absolutely no problem. So, he will have to file a petition for change of status. So, his status will be changed on approval of the H-1B petition from TN visa to H-1B.
Does the TN visa holder need a job to apply for, an existing job, or can he come over because of his educational and work experience to look for a job?
I like this question, Ken. In fact, TN visa is granted only when there is a job offer. A person cannot be self-employed. Like a person who is holding a bachelor degree in computer science, and he says, I am going to start my own IT company and give me TN visa, he is not eligible because he is going to be self-employed.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So the bottom line is the TN visa is a very flexible visa, but you need that job just like the H-1B visa.
Yes, that's right. Flexible in the sense there has to be an employer and there has to be a bona fide job offer, and he should be working on that bona fide job offer. Yes.
Sort of like an H-1B visa for the North American Treaty affiliated countries.
Yeah, you know, like these countries can also be, like nations of these countries can be granted H-1B, sure.
Just another form of it.
Yes, this is another form of non-immigrant visa.
Do these a TN count for the
Quota,
the quota? Yes.
Ah, I know, this is what you had in your mind.
You're a mind reader.
Yeah, no, in fact, there is no quota for TN visa. Unlimited numbers, unlimited numbers.
Very good, and that's one of the benefits of the treaty.
Yeah.
Really, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show today and to explain this interesting topic to everybody. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate being in the studios today, and I was very happy to answer your questions. Last but not the least, I would like to advise the audience, whenever you have an immigration issue and you are looking for some immigration options, please talk to an experienced immigration attorney. Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you, Ken.
Thank you.